Hello and welcome everybody to Flicker Effect. This is our spoiler-filled review of the first 3 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi over on Disney Plus. I'm David Lott. Joining me, as always, is Bobby Jackson and Michelle Hillard. How's it going, guys?
Good. How's it going?
Pretty good. Pretty good. We have got plenty to discuss in this one. We've got 3 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi, a show we've been looking forward to for a while.
Got my lightsaber going.
Yeah, I can pull a lightsaber
I
on
was
here.
gonna say, you want lightsabers? We got lightsabers.
Yeah, well, we got 2 episodes right at the start, and then we've already had our 3rd episode since we've had a chance to record and to talk about this. And in that regard, really quick, I mean, since we're talking about Star Wars, I feel like it's worth mentioning.
Talking about Star Wars.
Yeah, Bobby and I went to Star Wars Celebration for a couple days, more like a day and a half.
Yeah, that's about right.
We went all day Thursday and like part of the day. I don't even know if I'd say half the day, but about half the day on Friday. And what did you think? That was your first celebration. What did you think of it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, my first celebration, and I think it's so crazy. For me, for the first experience, I would say that being a novice, it wasn't altogether too different than going to WonderCon. Maybe it was a matter of everyone not coming out in full force, or maybe they cap it at a certain amount of people. But I just remember thinking that it didn't feel overcrowded or too bunched up, or like there was like too many people there. It really did feel like the crowd was comparable to WonderCon, which is not as busy as San Diego Comic-Con. And going on the floor, it felt like it was a familiar experience because it's similar to going on the floor of any con, I would imagine, except for all of this is just focused on Star Wars. So there's more of different types of booths, but every type of booth has something Star Wars related, which is different than in it. Like if you go to WonderCon or San Diego Comic-Con, you can see an area over here and someone's got some stuff for Harry Potter, or someone over here has some stuff for Transformers, or whatever the case may be. There's a little bit of everything anywhere you go. So in that sense, I feel like it's almost like, unless you're looking for something specific, you kind of walk around and you're like, oh, I saw that similar thing over here. So it's not like there's a lot of differentiation going on within there. I mean, there are definitely some different things there for sure, but it's all, you get the sense of like it's all sort of the same wherever you kind of go, except for like on one half of the floor you've got the like the vendors that are kind of, I guess, affiliated with Star Wars or whatever, able to sell these things that they sell. And then on the other side, you have like the official Lucasfilm Star Wars stuff. And so then they have their booths set up and more elaborate kind of things going on. And the overall impression I got from it was really, it just felt like it was a it felt like a typical con to me in a way that I think I didn't think it would feel like. I and from hearing from people in past cons that's gone to Celebration, it's almost felt like it was a the way it was always described, or the way you hear about it from people, it always felt to me like it was this level of jubilation that was just almost like people walking around with permagrins, like just happy, and you know, like almost like you're at Disneyland and you're just the happiest place on earth. But it's not like that. It was just like people just walking around, and you know, like a con.
Another con.
But yeah, but the way I always heard it, it sounded like everyone was super stoked and happy.
It's
and
funny. I've never really heard it described that way.
Yeah, it's weird. I guess I don't know why, but then it's like I've heard that description before, where it's just people seem so joyous at the celebration. And I even heard that this time around, and I was like, where are you guys, like that you were so happy and enjoying things so much? Right. Not that I wasn't. I totally had a good time, but I think maybe some of that comes from getting the full experience where they've got to sit in on those panels where they announce some things
Yeah.
and got to see some of the people come out. And me and David, unfortunately, didn't get to go to any of those types of panels. I did get to go to one panel for the convention, which was in regards to the publishing. So the High Republic stuff that they have coming out soon.
Nice.
And I got to see some of that, which was enjoyable because I have been reading those books and looking forward to the next era of the High Republic. So that was great. And I felt like once I did do that, I did feel more like I was at a convention because
Right.
I'm used to going to go see a panel of some sort. And so that part of it really kind of helped complete the experience for me. And I do wish we would have got to go to some more panels, but the way the panels are set up, they're almost not to a way, at least for me, where it felt like if you don't see one of the big panels, there's some other smaller ones that you can usually go see if you're at a Comic-Con or something. And I didn't necessarily feel that was the case. There may have been, but there's just nothing that sounded like it was enough to pique my interest to go to instead of one of the big ones. It almost, I would have to look at the schedule again, but it almost felt like whenever one of those big panels are going on, there's no other panels going on. I can't remember if that was the case or not, but it seemed that way. And so if you don't get into the big panel, then you're just kind of like walking the floor. And if you've already walked the floor, which you can probably do in about a good hour or so, then you're kind of like, well, what do we do? Well, this panel's running and we've already walked the floor kind of thing. So
Right.
it's like, I feel like the me being going for a first time, it was an experience where I'm like, okay, I like it. I would go again, but I would do it differently if I went again. So
Yeah.
it's a
Plan
matter
to
of
try to get in those
plan it.
big panels.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we went into it again knowing we were only going to
Oh.
be there the 2 days at most, day and a half really.
Yeah.
And I think Bobby and I, we talked and had the same kind of mindset. We were going into it to just like go experience Celebration, but we weren't like in a, hey, we were going to camp out in line or
Right.
do whatever we got to do to get into what they call it the Celebration stage. That's the main stage every year that they have a celebration. And not that you really could do that because they have like a lottery system, I guess. And we kind of tried to see if we could get in, when it push came to shove, like right that in the morning, it didn't really work out. And we were like, that's fine. And we just kind of walked the floor and did our thing. And yeah, like you just said, Bobby, and I've said before, like if I ever go to Celebration again and I'm like, I'm making an entire weekend of it, I feel like I'm going to just splurge and get what they call I think it's called the Jedi Master Badge. And I mean, if you can get one, if it doesn't sell out, but if you can get one, I believe the Jedi Master Badge basically guarantees you access to the Celebration stage every day. And, if you want to go and experience that part of Celebration and get into the big panel every day, and you don't want to have to stress about, am I going to get in or not? If it's in your budget, I say just do it, especially if you're going to like make a trip out of it. If you don't just happen to live in whatever city it's taking place in, and you're like traveling to London next year or, Anaheim, if it's in Anaheim again in the future, just splurge and get that if you can get it. Because then that way you're not stressing about getting into the big stage. But otherwise, it's a lot of fun. And yeah, it's just obviously very Star Wars centric. So the convention floor itself isn't super huge because it's just Star Wars vendors.
Yeah. You can
Which,
only rinse and repeat so much Star Wars stuff.
Right. It's cool. There's a lot of interesting vendors that you might not
Right.
expect to have like Star Wars items. Like for instance, there was one I grabbed a flyer for. They make these like these really kind of cool beanbag like chair things and like lounge like kind of beanbag kind of stuff, but it was like Star Wars themed, I mean, you get stuff like that that's like, oh wow, you have Star Wars items, so you have a booth here.
Right.
It's kind of fun. Yeah. But anyway, that was Celebration. And the same weekend of Celebration, we got our first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And then since then, we got our 3rd episode this past Wednesday. So new episodes every Wednesday from here on out. Not that there's a lot more. We're already halfway through. We've got 3 episodes. We've got 3 left to go.
Goes quick.
Feels like it's flying by, though. I guess the second half will take a little longer to get through.
Yeah.
But this is going to be a very interesting conversation. I'm curious to talk to you guys about this show.
I want to hear what you guys think.
Bobby, you want to get us started off here? What do you think of Obi-Wan Kenobi so far?
Well, like you said when we started the episode today, is that it was highly anticipated. People have been feeling like of all Star Wars that this was going to be the show to sort of, I won't say save Star Wars, but at least bring it back to a higher level. We've had Mandalorian. Go ahead.
It was going to be a movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, at one point it was going to be a movie.
Yeah.
And so this was like really one of those things people have been looking forward to, even though we all had kind of collectively said as a group of fans of Star Wars was like, well, we don't necessarily need a Han Solo movie or Obi-Wan movie or a Yoda movie that they were talking about at one point in time, that we didn't need all these, but of any of the ones that we were going to get, Obi-Wan was that one that we really wanted to see actually play out. And so with that kind of weight on its shoulders, knowing that it was going to be a movie at first, knowing that you had Deborah Chow on it, who had come away from doing some of the best episodes of Mandalorian, it had a lot to live up to. And so far, after 3 episodes, I would say I'm enjoying the show, but it's not without a lot of issues. And my biggest issue that I have with the show at this point in time is the way it bumps up against continuity and canon. And I will be very happy when we finally move away from anything Skywalker related, so that won't be an issue with me anymore. But there's so many different things that it does in this series, I feel like, that messes with it or massages it or something that I don't like. And maybe it's a thing that I have to just get used to if they're going to do, but I don't know that I will do that anytime soon without it bothering me. Because I've seen other people who have pointed these things out and they're sort of not okay with it, but they're accepting that this is just how it's going to be, that they're going to mess with continuity and canon. And it's like, yeah, but they don't have to. It's not like with Star Wars, to me, has always had a canon continuity issue, always, because from the beginning, George Lucas didn't know that that Leia and Luke were going to be brother and sister, so he massages things, and even in Return of the Jedi, there's different things that have been done that sort of massages and what came before with the canon. So it's always had that issue, but it's like we know certain things are kind of the way that they are now, and it seems to me like it'd be easy enough to not do that, to where you mess with things and you can see it there and you're like, okay, how do we write around that to make it effective and not mess with anything? You got to be able to do that. I mean, these writers are getting paid how much money to be on these series, to be able to figure this stuff out? It seems like it's a doable thing, but nevertheless. And so I think that's one issue. But even aside from that, I think that there's issues with just character logic in terms of what's going on within the story. And I don't quite know why. And I'm hoping that maybe those things will play themselves out to a logical conclusion where I can look back and say, okay, so this is why this character was doing this. And it's just at this point a little bit like a wait and see game, to where I feel like how I feel overall about the series will be determined by where we're at after episode 6. And even though they're talking about rumors of a second season, I really hope that they do a good enough job in these back 3 episodes to be able to justify a second season in whatever way that they want to try and do that. And I feel like at this point in time, I don't know why. I'll see different interviews like with Kevin Feige, where recently they had the Miss Marvel world premiere or whatever, red carpet. So far, we've had at least a couple different things, whether it was this Miss Marvel or Doctor Strange or whatever. And I have yet to see any of these people that are critics or reviewers asked the question to Kevin Feige, why do we only get a certain amount of episodes, and why are they various lengths in per episode? When you can have a series like The Boys that it does an hour, or and it feels right. It's you got 8 episodes at least. It's, some shows
Mhm.
have 10, and no one asked this question. I don't, but everyone complains about it on their podcasts, on their YouTube shows, or in their writings. They all complain about the episode lengths or how long the series are in general, but no one's asked the question like, why is it this, and why can't we get more? I'm so happy and so anxious to see Andor, because it's 12 episodes. I don't know how long they are, but it's 12 episodes. And so that
Right.
alone excites me, knowing that we got 12 episodes for season 1 and that there's a season 2 that will have another 12 episodes. So to me, I feel like we'll be able to have a better barometer of how these episodes and series should be going based on that series, and how well, if it does well, it will do, and to be able to tell a good story. Because I think that's probably another issue that I have with Obi-Wan series, is that based on the amount of episodes we have, it feels like they're taking shortcuts a lot of times within the story, to where they know that they only have so much time to get to their destination point after 6 episodes. So it's a mixed bag with me, but overall, I still say I am enjoying the series. But I think that there's a level at which I probably would have been enjoying it more if certain things were slightly different.
I mean, I'm with you. I don't know what else to add. I am enjoying the show overall. And by the way, I don't know if I said this at the top of the show. I don't think you really spoiled anything yet, Bobby. But I mean, we are going to talk about spoilers for these first 3 episodes. So,
Yeah.
you know, here's your warning.
Spoilers.
If you didn't get that from the
You
I
did
think the
say it.
title on YouTube, okay, yeah,
You did.
spoiler review for the show. Anyway, overall, hey, I'm enjoying the show so far. I'm with you. I think, it could be better, and it's one of those things where I think in this day and age, it's like the Star Wars fandom is so like interesting and weird and toxic a lot of times, and kind of a mess. As a Star Wars fan, I even feel like, oh, if I complain at all about it, I feel like I can be attacked for, oh, you're not thankful enough that you've got this great show. Like, no, I'm just a fan who, I'm enjoying it, but at the same time, this could be better. It could. Kind of like for all the reasons you just said. I mean, there's continuity things that can be kind of frustrating. Some of the continuity stuff, I feel very confident is going to be resolved. I mean, the big one would be the Grand Inquisitor thing. We see at the end of episode 2 that he appears to be killed. I think we even have a quote from a writer now who, basically is saying, look, continuity is important to us. It's his way of saying, don't worry, we didn't screw that continuity up.
Yeah.
So, and even before that, Bobby and I, we talked about it. We were, out in, at Celebration together, and I'm not as familiar with it as you are. You've watched a lot of Rebels. I have not, but I'm aware that there's no way he can be dead unless it's not actually him and it's somebody else. I don't know,
Right.
but that, but there's other stuff too. I said that going into the show, like it feels like the kind of show I'm going to enjoy, and when it's all said and done, I feel like it's going to make problems when it comes to continuity with like A New Hope and afterwards. And I still feel like that's going to be the case. There's a part of me that's kind of like, depending on how that continuity is messed with, I'm just kind of like, okay, it is what it is, but I'm with you. They don't have to mess with it. Like, just for the appeal of, oh, wouldn't it be fun to see Obi-Wan and Vader face off like a lot? Like, yeah, it would be, but I don't know.
Do they need to?
It's complicated.
Yeah.
It is complicated, especially them.
But overall, I'm enjoying the show. I think there's some acting things that I'm still up in the air on. What's her name? Moses Ingram, right?
It plays Reva.
Yes. Yeah.
That plays Reva.
The third sister.
Yeah. I'm still on the fence on, I think her performance in episode 3, and I still don't know if it's a matter of her performance or the writing of her character that just got better, but I think episode 3 is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know if overall it's really just her acting. I'm not saying she's a bad actress, but maybe I think it's a combination of really just how she's written. That maybe that's the problem there. And there is a feeling of, to me, like this show just doesn't feel big enough. We all know, most people know that the show is filmed in the volume. And for those who don't know, like starting with The Mandalorian, ILM created this stage they call it the volume.
It's
that
huge.
Basically allows them to film on a soundstage instead of out on location, but also not just be filming in front of green screens. It's really pretty cool. On the flip side, it does seem like it can constrain how things are shot. When there's a lot of scenes in this show so far that you can tell it's filmed in that kind of environment. It
Camera
feels,
angles.
versus, you mentioned Andor, which apparently Andor is not using the volume as heavily. And you just watch that teaser trailer and it shows like, that's, oh my God, it looks so good. I can't praise that. I mean, we're not going to go on a tangent about that teaser, but it looks incredibly good. And that's just the teaser. We'll see how the show actually is.
Right.
But it begs the question, like you see that teaser and you go, oh my God, why? That's great. I'm glad you're doing that with Andor, but why couldn't we have done this with Obi-Wan of all things? Like, this feels like, of all the shows that we've been anticipating for Star Wars, this is the one that was like the big one. Like, this feels like the one you would have just thrown all the money at,
Yeah.
But in so far in the production value, it doesn't feel like they treated it that way, which is mind-boggling to me. But I feel like I'm coming across like I'm kind of hating on it, and I'm not. I mean, as a Star Wars fan, I'm enjoying it. It's great to see Vader. It's great to hear James Earl Jones sound like the Vader we know. Yeah. There's no doubt they had to do some processing on his voice, but it works. Like,
for sure.
And I say that because we heard it in Rogue One, and he sounds older in Rogue One.
He's aged.
But here he sounds like Vader, and it's fantastic. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the next 3 episodes. Absolutely, I can't wait to watch the next episode in a couple days. But am I wishing the show were better than what we've gotten so far? Of course I am, but I'm not hating on it at the same time. That's where I am. Michelle?
We're 3 for 3. I'm enjoying it, but I have issues. I don't even know that much about Star Wars canon as in depth as you guys do, but I know enough to know that the Grand Inquisitor has a much larger story arc. So it was kind of like, is he supposed to be dead? Like, it was very like, I mean, you guys know much more than I do, but I know enough to go, well, that doesn't seem right. Like, I was very thrown by that scene. So I have issues with like that for continuity. Other stuff I don't know enough to know about continuity issues. I think the problem is actually that they wrote the character of Reva. I think they tried too hard. They're trying to make her a very solid, angry, hard character, and it's not coming across that way. It's just kind of coming across as I'm angry and I'm going to get my way at the end of the day. And that's not what I think that the character is supposed to be doing. But I think they wrote it poorly, and it leaves that actress grasping at some straws. I think she's trying to convey it as best she can, but I don't think it's written. I don't think they wrote it. I think they overshot it in a way, and they were having a hard time writing her character to convey the way she's supposed to be. That's my impression of it.
And I definitely feel that's it. We may find out that all those choices were correct and that it was an intentional thing. But based on what we have right now, it's like they wrote her character coming out the gate like guns blazing at 1000% speed compared to everybody else that was like at 100. You know, and it was just like it's jarring because it's like,
Yeah.
whoa, like calm down. Like it's not that serious. That's how you feel, because it's like she's a brand new character. We don't know any of her
Yeah.
motivations for anything, and it's just she's just heated, and we're just like, wow, this is just it's jarring. And so it's like you said, part of it is based on how the character is written, and part of it is Moses Ingram having to portray that, but it's coming from a place that we have no reference point, and so it feels sort of hollow, and it doesn't get conveyed well. And like David said, in this third episode, it felt maybe pulled back some, and it felt more like going from 1,000 and now maybe she's at like 300 or something. But this is like not quite as hot as she was in those first two. So it feels like we're getting a little bit better with the character, because things are starting to come into focus, and the acting is coming across a little bit more than just this anger that she supposedly has.
And maybe it'll all come together towards the end of this with the next 3 episodes. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like they were trying to portray her as just so heated with anger and revenge in a way. A revenge for something we don't even know. And I think it just could have been done a different way. And I don't know if I can fault the actors for it. It seems like a writing issue to me. So yeah, I bump on that. But I think for me, my biggest thing is production value. Like everyone has said from the beginning, a story of Obi-Wan has been the main driver for every person in the fandom. Like just 1,000%. Like that's, if they were like, look, we're only gonna make one thing. We have 7 ideas. We're only making one. And Obi-Wan's one of them. Everybody would have been like, yeah, just make the Obi-Wan. Just throw all the money at it. Just make the Obi-Wan. Just F it all. Like, feel like we're never like, that's what we wanted. And I see this and I go, what? Why did they not? What did they do? Why did they not throw all the money at this? Like, I get it. It's a Disney Plus show. Like, but you're not fighting for commercial time. There's not a ticking clock here. Like, fulfill the story. Don't try to cram it. Don't try to rush it. The set feels small, in the volume. The camera angles they're using, it doesn't feel expansive at all. And then even when they use the CGI for certain things to look futuristic, anything that's flying or moving, it just looks poor. I will say it looks better than the quality we were getting in Boba Fett, but the quality in Mandalorian was better. And not to shoot down Mandalorian, but the quality in this should be better than the Mandalorian. And maybe my expectations were just high. I don't know. I don't know if they blew their entire budget on getting Ewan McGregor and getting James Earl Jones to voice it. I don't know, but I feel like there's got to be more money to this. Like, you can buy a certain level of quality, and I'm just not seeing it. Like, it's not getting conveyed. There were better quality episodes of The Mandalorian. I thoroughly enjoyed The Mandalorian. I'm not trying to poop on it in any way, shape, or form. But when I look at Obi-Wan, I'm like, Obi-Wan should be pretty leaps and bounds better than Mandalorian. I should have my mind blown almost after I should be going, whew, that was man, I felt like I watched a movie in 55 minutes. Who knew? Like, I should be feeling like that. And I'm not coming out of every episode like that at all. It seems very lackluster to me. And it's very frustrating because I think overall, like you said, James Earl Jones, to have him back, to have them tweak his voice so it's a younger voice has been really great. I think Ewan McGregor is doing a job. I think the actress who's playing the young Leia is just doing an awesome, awesome job. Like, I'm enjoying seeing the story unfold. The story is a solid story for sure, but they're missing the mark pretty much everywhere else. and it hurts. It hurts. Like, as a fan, it makes you go, but why? And yeah, like, I don't want to compare everything to Andor, like you guys said, but yeah, it's like I see a teaser trailer for Andor, and I'm like, this looks amazing. What's happening here? It's just, it raises a lot of questions as to production value, and I just don't understand. Is where I'm at on that.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, you know, I think for the most part, we've seen basically everything at this point that we've seen in the two trailers that we got.
Right.
Yeah.
So on the upside,
Don't think maybe there's like one shot of Obi-Wan himself. Maybe we haven't seen yet. I can't remember. But for the most part, it's like everything that came from those trailers came from those first 3 episodes.
right.
And it gives me hope. Then I'm like, man, who knows what to expect from here on out. So that's kind of fun.
No, upside, total upside.
So again, I'm still enjoying the show. I still love Star Wars. Can't wait to watch the next one. But I hope when this is all said and done, that the 3 of us come on here, the 4 of us, hopefully Asha as well,
Right.
and we can sing the praises of the show in its entirety. But
It would be cool. I'm hopeful that for some reason they somehow go, wow, we really need to pull it together in these last 3 episodes, or even last 2 episodes. I don't know, but like, thus far, my hopes of that are pretty low.
before we wrap up, does anyone want to make any predictions on like how this plays out for the Reva character?
Well, most people seem to have this feeling that she's going to turn good and she's going to have some sort of revelation, because or some sort of redemption, because in the beginning of the first episode when they show the younglings, that to me seems that she's one of those younglings that were there. And so it's trying to at least establish the idea that she was good at one point, and then it being an inquisitor, Jedi get turned, and so now she has harboring this anger, and maybe we don't know her full motives just yet, and maybe she's duplicitous and that she wants revenge on Obi-Wan for not saving her as a youngling, or trying to find her. And also maybe she wants to try and get close to Vader to try and take him out too, because if she's a youngling, maybe she saw Anakin in the halls cutting down younglings and stuff. So we don't know ultimately her where she's going. Although my prediction for Reva is, I feel like no matter what, she's not long for this Star Wars universe.
Someone's gonna kill her.
Way.
Either the Grand Inquisitor is going to come back and kill her, or
she's not going to make it to. She's not going to see another season.
I've had that thought of, is like kind of going into her like wanting to get to Vader, because I've had that thought as well. Like, is this also just like a play of like playing the part of an Inquisitor to get close to Vader for that purpose? At the same time, we've seen evidence that she has done harm to everyday people in this world. You would think it wouldn't just be purely hey, I'm a Jedi trying to play the part of a dark side user.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the case.
I don't think that's
I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying it was a split second thought.
I think for me, it's she's angry at Obi-Wan because even in Obi-Wan's eyes, he's like, I should have seen this. I should have predicted this. I should have stopped this. I should have known. And I think for her, she's like, you were the one who trained him. Why didn't you stop this? I saw everyone in the temple get massacred. All of my friends, everyone died in front of me, was slaughtered. And it's all because you failed as a teacher. Like, and I think that's her anger at him, is you failed him, thus failing everybody else. And that's her real anger. But I can see that she can get better. There could be a moment of redemption. and then a swift death right after that moment. And I think that's probably how it's going to play out. But yeah, if I had to guess, that her anger with Obi-Wan is because he failed in his teachings to Anakin. Or at least she feels that he failed in his teachings.
Go ahead, Bobby.
No, you go ahead.
Something. Well,
No,
I was going to say, we're pretty much running out of time, and if anybody had any last things they wanted to touch on. So, Bobby, if you have something.
Yeah, that's what I thought you might going to say. So that's what I was going to say something. Okay, I got 3 instances, and maybe in rapid fire you can tell me if you can understand the logic in the show of why it is the way it is. First one being when Obi-Wan and Leia come across the laser barrier, that once they get off that transport from Fleek or whatever his name was,
yeah, I think it was like
they shut something. They can't get through the laser thing, so Obi-Wan shoots it, and then they go through it. But correct me if I'm wrong, but on either side, was there? Couldn't they have just walked around?
They could have gone around it.
There's a decent amount of space there. I think I even said something.
You did. You said it out loud, Michelle, as we watched it.
They just walk around.
To me, it was a minor, they could have, but it didn't. I didn't bump on it like, oh, it bothered me, but
it bothers me from a standpoint of it feels like lazy writing.
Right.
Like, how do you write a scene like that and have that like that? I don't know. It's just
not convince the set people to be like, look, you really need to push this gate basically into the mountains. Yeah, it needs to basically be built into it. And I'd be like, okay, yeah, I get that. But they didn't. They didn't talk to the set designers and go, this needs to be shoved in there. Otherwise, this whole thing is just BS.
Yeah,
right.
No,
they didn't.
I get it.
All right. So point 2, the Vader thing with Obi-Wan and the fire. So one minute they show him extinguish the fire with the Force, and then another fire happens. It's blazing, and it's like they just kind of stopped at that moment, as opposed to, I don't know, 5 minutes earlier he had used the Force on Obi-Wan to raise him up. Couldn't he have just pulled him through the fire? Back? Yeah, or put the fire out again with the Force. Okay, I'd love to hear, because I'm trying to understand.
Okay, so I told David my thoughts on this, and my thoughts are that at this point, Anakin. I mean, I think ultimately Anakin wants to kill Obi-Wan, but why just kill him? He can torture him.
Well, yeah, but I don't think what Bobby's saying is playing into what that conversation we had. I think he's just saying literally, why couldn't he have just gotten him over the fire himself to him? He tells his stormtroopers, go get him. Why couldn't he have just used the Force to bring him over?
Pull him back over.
I think that's more specifically what, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, Bobby, but I think it's more specifically what you're referring to.
Exactly.
Yeah. And again, it could be that he, in his torture methods in his head, could be that he's like, okay, we've already done the burning thing. Maybe we'll just, now he's weak. We could grab him and I can do other things. So I don't know. I think right now he's just so ragely insane with power of torturing Obi-Wan.
But I agree with you, Bobby. I think it's also more lazy writing of
it is lazy
why
writing.
It's a convenient way for him to get away from the situation by, I'm gonna have my stormtroopers go get him, but it really in that moment doesn't make a lot of sense.
It doesn't, and I don't understand why you write yourself in that corner.
Right.
There's a way you could have written that scene that you don't write yourself in the corner to where he has to be shoveled away that way. So it's just odd, especially again with the fire. Couldn't he have gone around it? I mean, it didn't look like it stretched that far over.
No, yeah. There is definitely smart. I'm not saying I'm a writer and I've got an answer.
Yeah.
There could have been smarter ways to write that where it would have been believable for Obi-Wan to get away from the situation than what we got.
So I'll play devil's advocate just a smidge more.
Sure.
What if, again, it's Anakin going, yeah, we're going to play cat and mouse for a while, and I'm cool with it because I want you to feel pain and then deal with it and then feel more pain and then deal with it. And if you get away right now, it's okay because I'm going to catch you again and I will torture you more. in a different way. Like I wonder if it's just this constant like, I know I can just play with you at this point. I don't care if we traverse the entire universe or 5 universes. I'm going to play cat and mouse with you. I'm going to make your life a living hell from now on out because you've done this to me. Devil's advocate here.
No, and that's sort of the thing that I use in my head to sort of justify it, because there's no other way really to let it go in that sense, because otherwise it's just sort of silly, and he spent 10 years looking for him, and he has him, and he's just going to let him just, and so it's like I have to let it be that he's just letting him go at this moment, knowing that he's weak and that he'll catch up to him again later,
right?
And maybe even to some level, he, on a lower level that's maybe subconscious, that he would want him to get away to maybe try and train and get better so that the fight is more satisfying and gratifying, because he was one-handing lightsaber battling him. He's just he wasn't even like using it, so it's like he knows he has him at this point. So
because like even David at one point had said he was like, he's like, he could just take him at this point. Like I was like, well, obviously he can just take him, but I'm like, I think he just wants to F with Obi-Wan. I think he just wants to get in his head and screw with him. He knows he can take him. I think he really just wants to break Obi-Wan down, and I think he really just wants to be like, I own you and I can take you out whenever I want to take you out. It's my choice. I'm choosing to let you waste your energy on this. I'm choosing to just singe you a bunch. I'm willing to let you run away because I know I'm just going to catch up to you again. And I think it's all just in he's like, I'll just let you do it. Like, it's fine. I'll get you. It's cool. Like, I'm not stressed about this. I think that's what I'm trying to hold on to right now with the way the writing is going.
Right.
I think that's... I don't think that it was written with that in mind, that part, the escape part. I think that's a good way, and I agree with you, Michelle, to look at it, because we have to explain it somehow.
It's the best way I can go with it.
I don't imagine that if you were to ask a writer that, hey, we did that because this is Vader's motivation. I don't buy it for a second.
I'm trying to hold out hope for this series. I really am.
And then the third one, I feel like they made things so easy for Reva in the third episode. She sees the loader robot walking away, and she's like, I don't know. Let me go check where that loader robot just came out of for some reason.
Yeah.
And she goes in there. Then she finds the thing really easily, pushes the button, goes down the cavern really easily, and somehow gets ahead of Leia to get
somehow finds the other end.
I don't, without passing her, because it seemed like it was only one way to get to it.
Or did she walk back out and like go around and be like, oh, I bet you this tunnel ends on this side?
Right.
And like went around. It was like,
would appear that that's what she did. But how did she know where it went?
Like, I got to the end before you did.
And that could be very well the explanation, but the
gymnastics
we have to go through to get to that explanation is messed up, because is it all for the effort to save that reveal that she's there at the end? Is that why they don't show you like her saying, oh, okay, let me go out of here and go to a different place, because they just want to save that little, but in doing that we have to do all this make-believe stuff. So
it's not much of a reveal. It's not much of a, my God,
it's not.
She's there.
She's there. She's gonna get Leia.
Oh my God, I didn't see that coming.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
No, it's not worth it.
It was more like
it would be even if you just get a shot of Reva turning around and going back quickly, like, hey, I gotta go back here to do this.
I bet you it ends on this other side. I know a secret. I know a secret alleyway. I can go.
and again, like, I as much as I'm nitpicking or whatever, pointing out faults, it's one, I do it because it's like I want them to be better than what they're doing, but also because I do still enjoy it with all those things being said. And it's like, for me, the one thing that I still to this day will not understand why we display certain force powers and never go back to them. And the one that always sticks in my head is the Force Run. It's like they showed it once and never
again.
Ever again. Not in Clone Wars. Not if they did, I missed it. But I've never seen them do it again. And it's like that was a winner. I guess no one else learned how to force run.
Nobody can run fast anymore.
Yeah. So well.
I mean, it sucks because that's a writer taking a liberty at some point somewhere in time, and they're like, "Oh, I have an idea. This is genius." And somebody, and then of course a writer down the road went, "Yeah, that was crap. We're never using that again." Yeah. It's just so frustrating that it's like, why do we allow these one-off things to occur? Because one writer was like, "Huzzah! I have the idea," and then they let it happen, and then they go, "Wait, no, that's crap. Why do we do that?"
Yeah.
It's frustrating. I mean, like on one side, the beauty of Star Wars is that there are so many people that write stories and ideas, and eventually somehow some of them kind of become canon, and that's great that we are so like open to these writers doing, and so many different writers of different backgrounds and different ideas. On one side, it's great. On the other side, it is really frustrating because they can have these one-off thoughts, and then
that's the other thing I find frustrating about Star Wars is that when I read the books, there's Jedi that are even in the old canon or the old EU stuff. They showed nuances and levels to the Force in which some people who were Force user, they had an innate ability where the Force sort of would be like a specialized tool or something, in the sense where one Force user seemed to be more in tune with animals, or some Force users were more in tune with technology, or some were more in tune with the plant life, or whatever the case may be. And in the movies, it just sort of seems like it's just they're all kind of the same, and they all use it the same sort of way. And you can only maybe sort of intimate that maybe Luke's use of the Force did revolve around weapons or not weapons, but like vehicles and stuff, like how he was able to fly so well, or whatever the case may be in that area. And maybe Leia's centered more around her ability to be in tune with people and be able to, like how she dresses down her cousin. Maybe she's able to do that through some part of, but they never really explore those things in live action in the way that they do in books and stuff. And I always wish that they would kind of get a little bit more into the Force in that way.
Agreed.
You know, I don't have these issues in Star Trek. I'm just saying, there's a lot less issues.
I feel like you're taking sides right now.
I'm just saying that I feel like I find myself with a lot less issues on the other side of this. Like, I'm just saying.
Well, we all have our issues. All the fandom.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, they all do, for sure.
Star Wars has a special set.
Star Wars is a special little hell we all like to love.
Yeah.
Anyways,
so yeah, we got 3 more episodes to go, dropping every Wednesday. Still looking forward to it, but fingers crossed it gets better. Not that it's been bad, but better.
No.
Thanks guys for joining me on this one, and we'll be back with another one soon. We'll probably, I imagine maybe we can jump on and do one on the next episode. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Okay.
With that, we'd love to hear from everyone watching. What do you think of the show, of these first 3 episodes? You can leave any questions or comments down below here on YouTube. Make sure to like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon to be notified whenever we post any videos, or maybe even go live in the future. You can also reach out to us on Instagram and Twitter at @Flicker_Effect. With that, I'm David Lott.
I'm Bobby Jackson.
And I'm Michelle Hillard.
Thanks for watching.